Today we are going to discuss on the topic tsunami. So tsunami. Uh, Today in our last class we discussed about seismic waves and its introduction, and what are the types of seismic waves and how it originates, and what is the impact of seismic waves. What are all the impacts? And we discussed about the classification of seismic waves. Let me recap some of the stories from the last class. So, seismic waves are broadly classified into body waves and surface waves. Body waves uh, are the waves traveling inside the body of the earth. So, that has been classified further as primary and secondary wave. So, the primary wave reaches the seismic station first, and the secondary wave, as next to the primary wave, it reaches the station. Then the broad classification is surface waves. The surface waves are subclassified into a Love wave and a Rayleigh wave. Love and Rayleigh are the scientists who discovered this type of waves, and these are the classification of seismic waves. So the broad classification is body waves and surface waves. So the subclassifications are primary wave, secondary wave for body waves, and a Love wave, Rayleigh wave for surface waves. So last class we discussed about what is a seismic wave. It's a wave generated caused by the sudden breaking of rock within the earth or an explosion. So the classification, based on the classification, the impact will be on the earth. Okay. So Lord Rayleigh and Love, A.E.H. Love, the British mathematician who discovered and worked out the mathematical model for this seismic waves in 1911. And we classified based on the Mercalli intensity scale. We classified the seismic waves into 12 categories, and first category it will be recorded in the seismograph. Like that, we discussed in the last class. Today, in our class, we are going to discuss about the impact, causes and impact of this seismic wave inside the ocean. If it is inside the ocean, what will happen? Tsunami waves will occur. So tsunami waves, or we call it as a harbor wave in Japanese, also called a seismic wave or a big tidal waves. It's a catastrophic phenomenon of ocean waves that they usually cause due to the sudden shaking of rocks inside the ocean. So it may cause a coastal landslide or volcanic eruption, or big tidal waves will come. So after an earthquake happened, there will be a great impulse generated, and this will be it will create a progressive oscillatory waves inside the ocean, and it will become for example, it may create, sometimes it may create volcanic eruption also inside the ocean. So the deep water, it may be at 30 meters height, or the normal wave phenomenon. It will not behave like a normal wave, so it will go beyond 30-meter height. The waves, the ships, and all the things will sink. The kind of waves occur. So 30-meter, the maximum height of 100 feet above the normal sea level, may occur during this seismic wave happen inside the ocean. Okay. So this is this today we are going to discuss on this topic, and let me see in the screen for better understanding. So today is a class we are going to discuss on tsunami. So this kind of water waves, this is a type of water waves, and are reflected and refracted by the topography of sea floor, and it propagates from the sea inside the sea, and it propagates towards the inland, and it will create lot of destruction in the on the land surface. So some notable tsunamis happened in the history. That is, it happened earlier Alexandria, Egypt, and some it happened in the major tsunami very recently, 2004 December 26th, the Black Bay tsunami that hit the earthquake magnitude of 9.1 displaced the ocean floor of Indonesian island of Sumatra. So 2 hours later, waves of height around 30 feet struck the eastern coast of India and Sri Lanka, some around 1,200 kilometers away. So within 7 hours of earthquakes, the waves completely washed out the shores of some of the Indian Ocean, parts of Indian Ocean, and Thailand and Malaysia, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Maldives, Somalia are all the places where it got much influence on it. So March 11, 2011, a seafloor displacement happened, resulting in a 9 magnitude earthquake in the Japan Trench of Pacific Ocean. That is one of the important tsunami. So before going to discuss about tsunami further, let us see some videos on it so that you can understand how much it's the cruelty of tsunami. You can get to know the cruelty of the tsunami waves. Let me stream the YouTube video for the real time capture of this, the caught on tape. So let me stream now. இதுக்கு மியூசிக் கொடுத்துருக்க தேவையில்லைன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஆபத்தை கண்டா விலகி ஓடணும், அழகா படம் பிடிக்க கூடாதுங்கிறது இது. Wow. ガンティマタのகன்னியாகுமரி. திருவள்ளூர் ஸ்டாச்சு கன்னியாகுமரி. மறைக்காதீங்கன்னு படம் பிடிக்கிறவெல்லாம் கூடிய சீக்கிரம் மறைஞ்சு போயிருவாங்கன்னு தெரியாம படம் பிடிச்சி. வேலையில்லா பட்டதாரி 2 மூவி பார்த்துருந்தீங்கன்னா இந்த சீன் புரியும் நினைக்கிறேன். கிளம்பி போற எல்லாருமே ஜாப்பனீஸ் நினைக்கிறேன். கிளம்பி போறவங்கலாம் அநேகமா ஜாப்பனீஸா தான் இருக்குது. ஏன்னா இந்தியன்ஸா இருந்தா கண்டிப்பா அங்க போட்டோ பிடிக்கணும்னு ஒரு 10 பேர் நிற்பான். Okay. So, Tsunami. So, you might have seen this sort of tsunami, and this is a series of ocean waves actually. இதுல பாதி பேர் இறந்து போனவங்க எல்லாருமே வேடிக்கை பார்க்க போனவங்க அப்படிங்கிற மறந்துடாதீங்க. ஸோ ஆபத்து வந்து விலகி ஓடணும், அழகாக ரசிக்க கூடாது. ஸோ சுனாமி இஸ் அ சீரீஸ் ஆஃப் ஓஷன் வேவ்ஸ். அதோட ஃபேக்ட்ஸ் லெட் மீ discuss some of the facts about tsunami. First, a tsunami is a series of ocean waves. Okay, it's an underwater earthquake, and it may create a landslide or volcanic eruption, and it will be generate a huge impact, like a giant meteor. How it impact? If it impact on an ocean, that likewise a tsunami will create a wave height of over 100 feet or 30-meter height in Mala. The second fact is about 80% of tsunami happens within the Pacific Ocean's Ring of Fire zone. That is Japan Laramishon. Indonesia, ring of fire zone, the 80% of tsunami happened in that region only. Then next fact is the first wave of tsunami, usually it will not be stronger. The successive waves will create a bigger damage to the environment. So that is the successive waves get bigger and stronger. So the first wave of tsunami impact is not strong that much of successive waves. Then next fact is it travels at the speed of 805 kilometer an hour, almost as fast as a jet plane. So jet plane விட வேகமா ஓட முடிஞ்சா you can escape it from tsunami, or otherwise you will be encapsulated and you will be the one nice thought is actually if you caught by tsunami wave, it's better not to swim, but rather to grab a floating object and allow the current to carry over you. That is the only solution if you caught by tsunami. So this is the advice given by the American Meteorological Society. Then the tsunami waves, it can travel 805 kilometers per hour. So how much fast? It's like as fast as a jet plane. So the state in the US are at a greater risk. The tsunami are Hawaii, Alaska, Washington, and California. So tsunamis retain their energy, meaning that they can travel across the entire ocean with limited energy loss. Okay, so it is called we know that it's called a harbor waves. Scientists can accurately estimate the time when the tsunami will arrive almost anywhere around the world based on the calculation using the depth of the water, distance from place to place, and the time that the earthquake or that event occurred. So time means it is not 1 hour or 2 hour or 3 hour. It's just a minute. Within a minute it will reach, because 805 kilometer per hour, if it is reaching the surface, means you will have only a minute to save your life, isn't it? So it's very difficult. If it happened inside the ocean, that is a very in a very long distance from inland. So then there is a possibility of predicting the tsunami waves and it can escape. So Hawaii is at great risk of tsunami. So they get about one tsunami per year, like that. It's hitting every year. So the biggest tsunami that happened in Hawaii is 1946 in the coast of Hilo Island, that hit a wave around 30 feet waves of 500 meter per hour speed. So in 2004, the Indian Ocean tsunami, this is a historic and most disaster in our history. It was caused by an earthquake with the energy of 23,000 atomic bombs. Can you imagine? 23,000 atomic bomb. After the earthquake, killer waves radiating from the epicenter slammed into the coastal line of 11 countries. The final death toll is around, can you imagine, 283,000 casualties. So around 11 countries, it slammed the coastline of around 11 countries, and the death toll is 283,000. So Indian Ocean tsunami is the biggest disaster in our history. 2004, December 26, a black day. So 23,000 atomic bomb energy it released. So ஒரு குண்டு பாம் வடிவேல் போட்டதுக்கே போலீஸ் ஸ்டேஷன் சுத்தி இத்தனை இதுக்கு சுத்தி இருக்கிற எல்லா காலி அப்படின்னு சொன்ன மாதிரி 23,000 atomic bombs. Can you imagine? It's unimaginable. So it's the biggest disaster. We need to have more science and mathematical model to predict earthquakes. So let us start. Since humans are recklessly exploiting the natural resources, as a consequence, various deadliest disasters rise up, which cause lots of destruction and devastation of mankind. One of the most dreadful disasters without human interference is tsunami. So today in our presentation, we are going to discuss about tsunami and causes, how it occurs, characteristics, and safety rules and government plans. So first, let us start with tsunami is a Japanese word, harbor waves. It's one of the important questions. Remember, students, it's one of the important 12.5 mark question. Okay, the tsunami is a sequence of gigantic waves that cause huge desolation and destruction when it hits a shoreline. So difference between tsunami and wind-generated waves. So wind-generated waves are always, we used to mention this tidal waves, and tidal waves that may be due to the earth moon impact, as well as from wind also it will generate some waves that will be around 8 to 100 km per hour. But tsunami wave is around 800 to 965 km per hour. So it's very dangerous, and the wave period is 50 to 5 to 10 and 20 seconds apart, but approximately the tsunami wave period is 10 minutes to 2 hours apart. Wavelength 100 to 200 meters. This will be 100 to 500 kilometers. So the regular wind waves. So tsunami buoys are available on the seashore, on the sea, and at some of the Pacific Ocean and inside the ocean. They are having their own tsunami buoys that will record the height of the waves. So every time it will record the height. If there is any disturbance in the height, it will measure and immediately it will inform the coastal zone to alert the people. So regular wind generated waves is around 10 to 20 meter per hour. Wavelength is 300 feet. So causes of tsunami: underwater earthquake, that is the main cause. Then landslide, underwater volcanic eruption that may cause tsunami, the glacier calving, and the impact of cosmic bodies, meteoroids, nuclear test. இதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப rare. Last 2 points are very rare. But the basic and the very important prominent cause for tsunami is underwater earthquakes. Okay, that is the main cause, ultimate cause for tsunami. So the earth crust has 7 and 12 small plates, seven large plates and 12 small plates. You can see the plates. See, these are the tectonic plates. Remember each and everything I am reminding you. These are all the theories. We didn't have any practical proof yet. Okay, so these are all the theories based on the information collected from the statistical department as well as from the number of earthquakes happened in the previous history. So we had these zones where which are heavily affected. So this Pacific plate, North American plate, African plate, Indian plate, Eurasian plate, and Pacific, this Pacific plate, Australian plate, so Antarctic plate. So we are in this Indian plate, and we don't have any boundaries, plate boundaries very nearby. So the one plate boundary is actually it is the fault zone of Andaman and Nicobar. That's all. It's a crack. So it starts from here to Japan is the Ring of Fire zone. Indonesia, Jakarta, and Malaysia, Myanmar, and Andaman. This is called the Ring of Fire. The more number of things are, more number of earthquakes are happening in this Ring of Fire zone. So one, we call it as a convergent boundary zone. Two is the divergent boundary zone. And third one is the transform boundary zone. Convergent, divergent, and transform boundary zones. Okay. So how it happens? So the normal situation, it's a fault. How you can see the normal situation will be like this. Then the disturbance, the tide will arise, and the ebbing of tide happen, and the velocity will be the velocity of seismic wave. It started flowing to the shoreline, and the speed will reduce by overlapping of this primary wave. So when tectonic plate under the oceanic plate collide or move fast away from each other, the movement is not smooth. So friction causes the plates to get stuck. This causes the pressure to build up and create earthquake under the oceanic bed. Following an earthquake, the oceanic layer is dislocated with uplift or sometimes a subsidence of up to several meters. So the propagation of tsunami, the water surface acted upon by the force of gravity begins to oscillate, and waves are generated every direction outward from the source of action. Therefore, the tsunami forms. Okay. So the depth, if it is around 7,000 meters, the velocity is 943 kilometers per hour, and the wavelength is 280. Okay. So these are all the destructive properties of these waves. And tsunami has a wavelength of about 200 kilometers. This travel the speed of more than 800 kilometers per hour. Okay. So I hope the screen is visible to you. Yes. Then tsunami threat zone. So these are all the high risk threat zone. So we are under high risk. So they categorized we are under high risk because of this ring of fire zone very nearby. Then medium risk and very low risk. So Russia and Africa and Brazil are some of the best countries to live for. There's tsunami threat zones. Avoiding the tsunami threat zones. So some other places. So consequences: tsunami pollutes soil and water, it damages property, and disaster loss of people. So either the first point I put, death. The major lot of people will die when it happens, and contamination of water and other things will happen. Destructions and devastations. These are all some of the impact. Imagine if a tsunami hit the nuclear power station, what will happen? See, it's not a junk, these are all human bodies. So, Indian Ocean tsunami, 283,000 people died like this. So, If it hits a nuclear power station, what will happen? So immediately need to check out all the warning systems, and you need to move to the safe place. So list of deadliest tsunami ever. One of such here the reported death is around 3,50,000, but it's unreportedly submitted. But the report says 2,83,000 died in Indian Ocean tsunami. In 1908, Italy 1,23,000 died. So these are the list of. Let's go through it for a minute. I will tell you a few more points to conclude the session today. And remember, students, these are all the things happened because of our lack of knowledge in science and lack of understanding about nature. So, if you are going along with the nature, you can understand nature easily. But we are very far away that we are thinking on machine learning, artificial intelligence, everything. But all the things can be understandable only if you are going along with the nature. Unless you will not understand nature. Okay. So tsunami statistics, most damaging tsunamis worldwide. So deaths and 1782, the huge damage to the society. So these are all some of the facts. And the 26th December 2004 tsunami, time 7:58 a.m. So Marina Beach were walking for a time on the time. So it causes a earthquake of 9 magnitude under Indian Ocean bed. Okay, please be hold on. Tsunami 2004 impact. You have seen the video. So once the water is moved by an earthquake, the large waves like ripples spread out from the point where the water first moved. So it moves quickly for a long distance. Some tsunamis have been traveled for thousands of miles across the ocean, and it travels through the deep parts of ocean. And the crust is usually short, and that it makes it difficult to detect the tsunami as they are not necessarily visible in the deep ocean. When the waves approach land and the shallow water, they pile up and grow up height. That is the only problem. Inside the ocean, we cannot distinguish easily. That is, the crust is usually short. So at the coastal line, a trough of the wave may appear. This will cause drawback to occur on the shoreline. The water may recede for some distance. This can be dangerous. The water will recede. So this can be dangerous as people may be tempted to walk out into the open area that immediately it will come out with a big shot of wave. When the wave arises on the shore, it will usually be a tall wall of water. The water will rush inland, sometimes for some distance of tsunami, will depend on the topography of the shoreline. Some tsunamis have been known to reach a height of 100 feet. So more waves may arrive. The time period also will vary. So the tsunami waves mainly occur in the Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire zone. So it's very dangerous, and some tsunamis are called as tidal waves, and they have nothing to do with the ocean tides. Okay, so the series of waves of the tsunami, we call it as a wave train. If I am asking you define wave train, you have to write a series of waves generated by the tsunami. So that is what we call wave train. So first wave of tsunami may not be usually bigger. Okay. So the warning system, disaster, deep ocean assessment and the reporting authority. So DOT system is available in the Pacific Ocean. So which stands for Deep Ocean Assessment and the Reporting of Tsunamis. DA Arctic system is available in the Pacific Ocean warning system. It's a type of warning system available in the Pacific Ocean. It will alert the peoples nearby the coastal zone. So affected areas of tsunami in 2004. So you are seeing this coastal zones that was severely hit by the tsunamis. So Indian Ocean death toll based on the regions are around Indonesia 1,30,000, Sri Lanka 35,000, India 12,400, Thailand 5,400, and Malaysia, Myanmar, Bangladesh. So victims of 2004 tsunamis, many lost their lives, many lost their children. See this picture. How cruel is this? So how many children died in the tsunami? So remember all these bad incidents happen in our history. Try to rectify, eradicate all these things through your science. Okay. So how do we measure tsunami? Tsunami intensity can be calculated using a Soleil Imamura of tsunami intensity scale. I intensity is equal to 1 by 2 plus log HAV. HAV is the average wave height along the nearest coast. Log, taking log, you'll be getting this tsunami intensity. Okay. So is it possible to know the arrival of tsunami? Yes, possible. But from the seismic wave information, seismic station, we can understand how it happens, when it happens, and how much distance, how much depth is the earthquake happen. All the things through the information we can understand the earthquake happenings. So unusual sea level fluctuations will be there. Then abnormal huge wave, like where loud ocean roar. Can we avoid a tsunami? So tsunami can't be clocked by anyone, but our developing technology enables us to predict tsunami and structure. This helps us to evacuate more and more people to rescue center and minimize the possibility of death. Okay, so tsunami warning system is available. DOT system is available inside the ocean. It has a voice and how much is the waves waves coming. So it will record, and the seabed there will be a detector to detect the wave height and the wave intensity and the flow of water current. Everything will be detected, and the satellite transmission system will be available to warn. So earthquake detector means initial warning. It will happen, and the water level will be checked, and the second warning will appear. So inside the tsunami warning buoy, what are all the things inside? Buoys float offshore near vulnerable animal community. Tsunami occurs and subsequent drawdown cause a buoy to tilt together towards the ocean floor. Upon hitting ocean floor, the buoy self-rights and alarm is activated. Okay, so this kind of buoys are available. What to do before the tsunami arrives? Construct your buildings away from coastal line. அதுதானே நம்மளுக்கு முடியாது. And check whether you are living in a tsunami evacuation zone or not. Create awareness about tsunami among masses. So if an emergency occurs, add the following items to your emergency kit. Important documents, அதாவது உங்க certificates, passports, birth certificate, insurance papers, mobile phone, inside a sealed cover, and first aid box, strong boots. முடிஞ்சா ஒரு bread packet எடுத்துக்கலாம். So what to do during tsunami? If you are on beach, then move to high ground or to top of floor of multi-story buildings. Turn on your radio to get the latest updates of tsunami. Marconi என்ன இருந்தாலும் மறக்க முடியாதுல்ல, என்னதான் எல்இடி ஓஎல்இடி வந்தாலும் we cannot forget Marconi and Tesla. So move away from endangered area as far as possible. If you are inside water, try to hold any heavy and strong object. So water current, you can travel along with the water current. That is the better way to escape. So if you survive, then swim to any safe area. And if you don't know swimming, then hold the object tightly until you are rescued by people. If you are rescued, then first you have medical treatment and take some food. அதுதான் அந்த பிரெட் எடுத்துக்க சொன்னேன். So if you have no damage or injury during tsunami, then help rescue force will come to save the victims. So government plans, some of the government plans are available. Compensation must be given to the injured people. Election time மாத்திரம் இல்ல, எல்லா டைம் தான். Rescue groups should be allotted. Posters and banners should be stacked out of cities and towns. Rehabilitation plans should be done for victims. So that's all for today. So in this session, we discussed tsunami facts and what are all the major tsunami happened and what are the causes and impacts, all the things we discussed. Okay, so this is one of the important question in our syllabus. So you should study this importance of this tsunami and the lacking, that is the drawback, and what are all the areas where we were weak. All the things you need to study. You need to study the formula, intensity scale I, how to measure the tsunami intensity I equal to 1 by 2 plus log of HAV. That is the tsunami height, average height of tsunami near the coastal zone. So for example, let me say if a height is around 2.8 meters, the I will be 2. So height is 5.5 meters, I will be 3. Height is 11 meters, the I will be 4. The intensity scale will be 4. And 22 meters, the scale will be 5. Likewise, they get classified and divided this formula. Okay, so you know the tsunami magnitude scale, that is the magnitude scale can be measured as A log H plus B log R plus D. So H is the maximum tsunami wave amplitude measured by the tidal gauge at the distance or from the epicenter. A, B, D are constant used to make the scale match as closely as possible with the moment magnitude scale. Okay, so all these things related to seismic waves. You might have studied this one. So warnings and prediction. So all things are available. Tsunami warning system is available in our Indian Ocean side and Pacific Ocean. Everywhere we are having the system, centralized system to alert the tsunami people to escape it from tsunami. Okay, so the last 5 minutes I will give some time to post your questions and post the facts. You need to post your comments in the either in the YouTube zone or comments section, or you can post your queries and things in the class. I don't know why you are not interested in posting questions and queries in chat box or in comment box or in classroom. I don't know. But anyway, I need your anticipation, and you need to get into this tsunami warning technology if you want to. Sir, I'm going to devise an instrument to detect tsunami. Like that, if you can already come up with some idea, or else you can give some scientific innovation or a technological innovation to detect tsunami or to make all the things aware of tsunami. So predicting tsunami is very, very, very difficult as we don't know completely about the nature. So in the coastal zone, those who are living in the coastal zone, the inundation is the maximum horizontal distance that can be penetrated inland. So that made possible. So you should aware of that. You should run up to the away from the sea coast during this region. Okay. So these are all the some of the things we discussed. Some warning systems are available. That is Pacific Tsunami Warning Center and West Coast and Alaska Tsunami Warning Centers are available. It will measure the tidal gauge, and the Deep Ocean Assessment Center, that is the DOT, Deep Ocean Assessment and Reporting of Tsunamis, DART. So it will measure the pressure, all the things will be measured. So the NASA is also heavily involved in detecting the tsunami in 2010. The NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, they successfully demonstrated elements of prototype tsunami prediction system. There is a global differential GPS network. So if there is a shake on the earth, it will be detected in the GPS signal, isn't it? So GPS position will be varying. So seismic waves and the earthquake can be detected from the satellite also. So imagine it is a invasive technique, that is without touching the ground, we can detect the earthquake uh, from the satellite. So we should be thankful to Albert Einstein for having this relativistic correction, so that we can measure the time exactly and the GPS position exactly. So these are all the things I want to convey. Thank you for the understanding, and thank you for sparing the time with me to engage all this time. And one more thing, I want you people should engage in this kind of research to save the environment. So as these things are most disaster and dangerous thing still exists, this problem is completely open to all, and you can solve those problems using your scientific brain, and you can devise some plans and devise some instruments so that you can get into it, and you can understand what is happening inside and how can we eliminate such things, especially in the peoples of Hawaii or most affected peoples in the world. So you can implement certain ideas. Hawaii, there is a separate earthquake seismic warning system is available. And also, if you want to pursue a research in seismology, you can go to our Indian Institute of Seismological Research situated at Gujarat, so Ahmedabad. So you can go there and you can pursue your research. At Ahmedabad, after the Bhuj earthquake, they constructed all over the state. They constructed around 40 to 45 seismic stations to record the real-time monitoring stations available. You can monitor. I went there and I saw the real-time monitoring station at IASR Gujarat. So there you can see the real-time monitoring station of the entire state. So this is one of the important thing in our country. So if you have any possibility or you can go there and attend the conference so that you can explore what are all the things available. Okay. So that's all for today. Thank you so much. So let me wind up the session. You can post your comments or anything else in the chat box. Thank you so much, students. Thank you.